Before I get started, I wanted to show a few clips from Belize. As you can see, I'm on the school bus, and these are the regular buses that go to Belize. If you look out the window, that's Belize City in the background, and I was sitting all the way in the back of the bus where all the luggage is. Mike from Breaking Bad was in Belize. You can see Mike written on the wall right there. I just thought that was a fun thing to record. Right here, I'm in San Ignacio on the second floor balcony of the hotel, and you can see the street view in the background. And I was just sitting, relaxing under that hot tropical weather. Felt comfortable, beautiful, absolutely perfect while eating Chinese food. So let's continue. Hey, what's up, man? I wanted to do this video for a while too, and it's called Black in Belize. And I traveled to Belize around 2013. I entered through the Guatemala border and I exited through the Mexico border. And I was mostly taking the bus through the country. Now, when I entered the Belizean border at like Guatemala, um, of course everyone spoke English. You know what I'm saying? Coming from Guatemala, everybody speaking Spanish. It was refreshing to hear a language that you're used to. So I saw this so at the border you have to wait for a shared taxi where multiple people get in and the taxi drop each person off along the way. So I'm standing there waiting for the taxi, and I see this like Hispanic guy because down in Belize they have they don't only have Afro Caribbean people, they have Mestizo people as well. So this guy who was obviously Mestizo or Hispanic, he, speaking in English, says something disrespectful about America. Now, I'm the only American in the area, so I'm assuming that he's talking about me. He starts saying like disparaging comments, talking about America's this, America's bad, the UK is better. And I'm like, really? Are you talking about that while you right here in front of me? So that's how some of those people view America. And while I was waiting for the shared taxi at the border, I could see the Belizean police riding around, making sure everything was all good. They ride around in like look like 4x4s or some kind of Jeep vehicle or whatever. So after I get into the shared taxi, when he drops off everyone, he started, he sparked up a conversation with me, which you're gonna see in the other videos. And he was saying like I told him I want to go to Belize City. He said, no, don't go to Belize City. Belize City is just too dangerous. I told him I was going to stay in the bus station. He disagreed. No, don't stay in that bus station. He suggested that I go to San Ignacio. So I automatically chose San Ignacio because I watch a YouTube channel called In Transit TV, and he stayed in San Ignacio, so I automatically agreed with it. When we arrived into San Ignacio, the cab driver was showing me like the Chinese restaurant and showing me the area where some of the hotels were. After I get out the cab, I started going to different hotels, and I eventually stumbled onto this hostel. And the guy there was like, "Yeah, man, they talking like a Caribbean accent, similar to the Jamaicans." And he was like, "Yeah, another black guy who came from New Jersey here. You're from Chicago. Okay, that's cool. All right, but I didn't want to stay there because the hotel looked kind of run down, and it wasn't my cup of tea. You know, um, so I started walking around the area looking for a hotel, and I noticed that all of the hotels in that area were kind of run down. They looked like a clean project building. So imagine a dirty project, but it's clean, It kind of looked like that. And eventually, I chose this place that cost about 30 Belizean dollars a night and stayed there. And that bed, I couldn't sleep on that bed, man. The bed just looked kind of, it was clean, but it looked dusty at the same time, Um, so I put a towel on the bed, for me to sleep. Also, the water was brown. Okay, so I'm taking a shower in brown water. Walking around that town of San Ignacio, you see some thuggish looking dudes out there. And one thing about Belize, just in case you didn't know, people stay outside till about 3 o'clock in the morning. So you hear dudes talking about, yo, go, let me holler at you. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, And the hotel I was staying at had a balcony where they served breakfast in the morning. I didn't stay for the breakfast, but you could hear music from a club next door, and they stopped playing that music at about 1 or 2, from what I remember. Um, so, like I said, this hotel offered free breakfast. I didn't take advantage of it, and I left the next day. One thing about taking buses in Belize is that they drive school buses, of course, and they go from town to town. And I was asking the hotel worker, like, "Hey, man, where can I catch the bus?" And she was like, "You can catch it right here in front of the place." Now when those buses, when you see the buses approaching, especially if it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, you have to wave them down, let them know. Because the first bus that passed, I didn't wave them down, and I realized, hey, that was the bus I was supposed to get on, and I waved down the second bus, and there was a bunch of people on there getting ready to go to work, stuff like that. Um, Also in that town of San Ignacio, there was a situation where I went to the Chinese restaurant. It was like a restaurant slash bar, okay? And this Belizean dude was sitting at the bar, and I'm talking with the waitress or whatever, and I kinda was talking over the Belizean guy's drink, and he kind of reached over and grabbed his drink, like, "I want your germs in my stuff," That's the way he grabbed it. He didn't say that out of his mouth. And I'm thinking like, man, I don't want no beef with these Belizean dudes out here. So yeah, but the Chinese food down there is very weird. It's kind of quote unquote dirty, and the sweet and sour sauce they give you is liquefied. It's the stuff that you find at the Asian buffets in the USA. It's like pinkish liquid and whatever. It ain't real sweet and sour sauce, so to speak. Okay, so upon leaving San Ignacio, I arrived into Belize City, and at that bus station, it is best that you talk to somebody like one of the staff workers, so they can tell you where to catch the bus. Because at the time, I was gonna catch the ADO bus, but from what I understand, the bus counter for ADO, which is a Mexican bus system, it doesn't open to like I think 6 in the evening from what I remember, and I arrived at that bus station at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm waiting for like 3 hours, and you can see the Belizean military walk through the bus station. They was kind of looking at other people, but in a way, they really didn't pay attention to me. Although I was kind of like dressed like this to a certain degree. I didn't have my hoodie on or whatever, but I was looking my regular self, and you know, I think they could tell that I was American. I sparked a conversation with just some random guy up in there. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're a cool American. You're the first cool American that I met." And I was like, "Okay, man, whatever." And I'm just sitting there, and it was this female bus attendant. Um, she was like, like a motherly figure, kinda. And she was like, "You've been here for a while. Have you eaten anything?" And I told her, "No, I haven't eaten anything." And she went outside and bought me something to eat. You feel me? If I ever go back down to Belize, I'm going to give you your money back and then some. And I really appreciate that if this video ever gets to you. But yeah, she bought me some Belizean food, which was delicious. Anybody who ever had it know that you got like some coleslaw on the side with with ketchup and some kind of conch or meat or whatever. I don't eat meat, so I gave it to the friendly guy who I was speaking with. So eventually, another bus attendant, got dreads, big guy. He saw me in there for a few hours. He like, "Hey man, where you going?" "Oh, I'm going up to the border." "Okay, you could take that bus right there at number, I forgot what number it was. But when you inside the bus station, you go outside in that area over there. You will see it, not out in the streets, but the other side, and you can catch one of the school buses from there. Their bus system is basically old school buses. Another thing about Belize, man, for all you players out there, is that there's some sexy females in Belize for real, man. I mean, your natural bronze skin and just milky. I mean, the whole nine, man. I mean, they was fine, and that beautiful Caribbean accent really brings out their natural sexiness, so to speak. But anyway, so get on a bus going to the Mexican border. And while riding through Belize, you can see, like, this is one thing that stood out to me, is that I could see random blood, like, the blood gang in LA. you could see like blood written on random buildings. You know, come to find out later, a lot of Belizean dudes go to LA and they become Bloods, and I guess they take it back to their home country if they get deported or something like that. So I just thought it was interesting to see blood, blood gang spray painted on random buildings. Another thing is that I was sitting all the way in the back of the bus, and some white Americans was sitting back there. They was looking kind of scared though, but they they was cool. The whole vibe was cool. Belize has a very interesting energy. It's unexplainable. It's just something unique about it. It has a certain flair. It's a certain sense of magic. So so to speak. Um, Also, this other Belizean dude came back there and sit at me. We was all scrunched up. It seemed like he didn't want to sit back there. A fine female came on the bus. He was trying to holler at her, "Hey, girl!" And it's funny to me. So anyway, upon arriving to the Belizean border, also when you get to the north of Belize, you will see a lot of Hispanic people or Mestizo, people of Mestizo descent, and the closer to the Mexican border you get, okay, the more Spanish you hear as well. Believe it or not, people speak Spanish in the northern part of Belize. So, upon entering the border of Belize, I go into the immigration center, and excuse me, when I leave, I don't have any money, right? You need to pay an exit fee. Didn't have any money. So the border patrol guard took my passport and kept my passport and told me to go to the free zone. And the free zone is located between Mexico and Belize. It's some kind of agreement with the country for people who don't have any, I don't know, citizenship, something like that. But I know with some gangster looking Mexican dudes over there for sure, just standing, in front of the stores and whatever. There was a lot of people over there in the free zone. It wasn't like a concentration camp or when you watch Scarface on Freedom Town. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just like an area or neighborhood that was named the Free Zone. And I had to go over there and withdraw money from the ATM and pay the Belizean guards. I forgot how much it costs. I think it's like 25, between 25 or 50 Belizean dollars. I've read reports where Americans have to pay $50 US to bypass that place. So I'm not 100% sure about that. Anyway, so once I leave the free zone, I go back, and by this time the bus that I was on had left because this bus went straight to Chetumal. Okay, but that bus had left. They ain't finna wait on me, and it was raining out there and all that. But I go and I pay the Belizean exit fee, and once I paid it, I called a cab, and I think he took me. Did he take me on the other side of Mexico? No, he took me up to the Mexico border, and then from there I was able to go into Mexico. So that's my Belizean trip in a nutshell. Being black in Belize, everybody thought I was Belizean for the most part. A few people could look by the way I dress, the way I carry myself, that I might possibly be American. But if they wasn't looking too close at me, they would have just thought I was quote unquote Belizean. Of course, once I started speaking English, then they kind of knew the deal. But the people there was real good people, giving people. The lady at that bus station did not have to do what she did. And those are my experiences with Belize. When I was at the hotel lady was gonna cook us breakfast in the morning. It was free breakfast, and when I told her I was leaving early, she seemed like she was dissatisfied. Like, why? Like she really wanted to cook for us, for me. So yeah, that's what it was. So another thing too, I forgot to mention is that when you walking down the street in San Ignacio, man. Well, when I was walking there, all of a sudden I hear a dude scream mushroom, which you would hear in my other video about Belize. He screamed mushroom, like got shrooms on sale. So, you know, I don't know what to say about that. I'm just letting you know that these are the type of cats walking around. And like I said about the gangster cats, you have some gangster looking dudes just all over. But according to the cab driver, it was a more peaceful and safer place than Belize City to spend the night. You know what I'm saying? So that's Belize in a nutshell. Peace.